If your baby was diagnosed with HIE at birth and now doctors are talking about a potential subsequent CP diagnosis, you're probably trying to figure out how did all of this happen. And I'm not talking about just in a general way. You more than likely want to know what actually went on during your labor, what was being watched, what decisions were being made, and when were those decisions being made. As a birth injury lawyer, I review medical records from across the country for babies who have HIE and subsequent CP diagnoses. And I can tell you that a lot of important answers are actually hidden in the medical record. Not always, but the medical records can sometimes explain whether that injury, your baby's HIE brain injury, whether it could have been avoided. One of the first places that we're going to look with all of this is the labor flow sheet. Now, if you've never seen one, it can look pretty technical, but it tells a story. It shows how your labor progressed, what vital signs were there, how the baby's heart rate was doing, what medications were being used, and how the staff responded to what was going on. A good flow sheet is going to be laid out in a way that helps nurses be able to document consistently. And this can be every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. We should see entries about your baby's heart rate or about contractions or how you were doing during labor. And when something changed, like a drop in your baby's heart rate, the flow sheet should help show what the response was and how quickly that happened. We also are going to pay close attention to the narrative notes. Now, these are written explanations from nurses, doctors, midwives, other medical professionals that happened during labor. They're going to document what happened during labor. Unlike the flow sheet, which is generally a fast pace, the narrative notes are more like a journal. So you can think of them like that. They will explain what happened and why. So let's take this example. Let's say that your baby's heart rate dropped. The narrative notes can tell us whether the nurse called the doctor right away, whether oxygen was given, whether they stopped medications like Pitocin, whether a decision was being made to wait or to move forward with an emergency C-section. These notes will help us understand not just what happened, but how everyone responded to what was going on. And they may have a little bit more detail surrounding them. And we do not just stop there. We're going to often also compare the flow sheets and the notes, the narrative notes, to other parts of the record. That includes the fetal heart monitor strips, the physician's orders, and even the operative report if a C-section was done. When things work together, when they're working together, we can get a clearer picture as to whether the injury was something that happened despite good care, or whether it could have been avoided with faster action. I've seen cases where the staff, they have acted quickly and they did everything that they could. And I've seen cases where there were long delays in responding to signs that the baby was in distress. That difference, it can make the difference between a safe delivery for your baby and a lifelong injury like HIE or CP. The truth is that most families, they never get walked through these records, and it can be hard to know what you are looking at. And that's one reason why families will reach out to us when their baby has an HIE brain injury to do an investigation to try to make sense of what was going on. We're not talking about guesses or vague answers, but an investigation as to whether your baby's HIE brain injury or subsequent CP diagnosis, whether it could have been prevented. Again, I'm Marcus Boston. And if you have any other questions about your baby's HIE brain injury at birth or subsequent CP diagnosis, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. If you have those types of questions from a medical legal standpoint, you can contact me about that. I have more information in my profile as to how to contact me, things like that. If you're watching this video on certain apps, you can just send me a DM and we could chat a little bit about what's going on with your baby story, or you could just wait and watch the picture that follows the end of this video. All right, that's going to be it for this afternoon's quick educational video. Have a great day, everybody.